No, anyone can just come up like, oh yeah, and they're just passing it round, puffing, and just everyone's blissed off. And I'm just like, I was like, how is it? I was like, bro, you guys don't even know each other. How you guys like even? But that's, hey, it's them demons, man. And that's the thing. These things are gonna be limited. It's like there's man that super alcoholics. It's gonna get peak. Um, what else as well, man? Even guys where food is their vice. That's gonna be peak. Because they're, especially it's like if you're incredibly overweight, then having to maneuver within society becomes even more of a difficulty, man. There's different forms of hell that are waiting, man. And men are really not prepared, man. Men are doing anything and everything within their power to try and avoid having to deal with or address any form of hardship, man.
Yeah, I got a precept.
Go,
Uh, Second Ezra 7:1. And when I had made the end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he sent unto me, and he said unto me, Up Esdras. Slakia. Bro. I just got shook. My leg just got hella warm. I was just like, what's on my leg? Kind of thing. Slakia. Verse 2. And he said unto me, Up Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the entrance were narrow and like a river. Alright? Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come to the broad? There is also another thing. A city is building set upon a broad field. This is really where I should have started. Luckier. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of good things. It's the spirit anyway. The entrance thereof is narrow and set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there was a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? You wanna go into it?
Yeah, that's the tribulation, and that's really just the spirit of basically gaining anything, man. It's like the worth of what's gained is measured up to the trials and tribulations that required to attain it, man. Because like even with Yahweh Shai, what Yahweh Shai did, having to come in the flesh, conquer the flesh, and then go up on the cross and be crucified, that's only Yahweh Shai could fulfill it, man. And that's, it's terrible. That's like, bro, anyone that's thinking that they could, be on that same kind of level, they're bugged out, man. They would have folded.
Because you got, it's like, it's one thing just for that moment to be like, okay, cool. Cat of nine tails, bear the cross, crown of, but it's like the life he experienced, like the embodiment of everything, right? He didn't sin. So he had a whole life of tribulation leading, it tells you in the book of Isaiah, a man acquainted with sorrows. He was known as a wine bibber. Why? Because he ate and drank. I'm not gonna, get all scientific, but it's a sure sign that eat heavily eating, and I'm not saying he's fat or nothing, or like he had a eating disorder, but that's a form of comfort. Drinking, it tells you, give strong drink unto them that are ready to perish. And the Lord was acquainted with sorrows, so he was eating and drinking in abundance. Imagine the level of grief he was dealing with on a man acquainted with grief. Imagine how much grief he was dealing with on a daily basis, moment to moment. For him to meet that situation, it's not as simple as
it wasn't light.
Yeah,
the journey to get there as well.
Yeah, because it's like, this is the thing. It's like there's a saying, because something happened to me a couple of weeks ago, and it made me look up this saying. but it's like the straw that broke the camel's back, or the last straw. But that basically is the idea of placing a burden upon a camel so heavy that just by adding one more straw, even though they have carried so much of a burden, that one straw just makes it as to where that's the straw that was the last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back basically. So the Lord was in that position of he's on the last straw. Why do we know this? Because an angel comforted the Lord on numerous occasions. When he was tempted by the devil, right, you had an angel come and comfort him after he succeeded in the temptation. But then also when he was in the garden, all right, before in the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane, all right, if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly.
Gethsemane.
Yeah, Salakia. But basically, yeah, the angel come up to him when he was crying blood, sweating blood. Like, for you to sweat blood, man, that ain't no light thing. All right, the level of that, and he understood. Look, Judas sold me out. He understood, like, none of these men that are around me, my disciples, are gonna be there. This is a moment of darkness. And then guess what? He knew the Heavenly Father was gonna turn his back on him. All right, because what he had to have all the iniquity of the children of Israel put upon him, and that's why it was a dark hour. It was darkness during that time. Like, he understood all this. And there's an angel and he even prayed 3 times that the Lord take the burden away from him. But he understood that if I gotta suck it up and take it, I'll take it. But even so much so that angel was sent there to minister unto him, to give him strength. Right? Even when he was carrying the burden of the cross, you had Simon of, I don't know,
what is it? Arimathea?
No. That's Joseph of Arimathea. But it's Simon of Joppa. No, not Joppa. But basically, you had Simon, and that's like the affliction heard. So you had many people that basically allowed him to have strength, basically, in that moment. All right?
Because it was of such an extreme level. What needed to be, needs to be accomplished.
Serene. That's it. Simon Serene. Yeah.
That's why it's really a lack of understanding. Because as far it's a lack of understanding, because they like when actually it's even with like torture, like with torture, the like the training people get for torture isn't resisting it, because it's you're not going to be able to resist it. They train them on what they're going to say once they break. So that's it's like concentrate on what you're going to say, how much information you're going to give, and how long you're going to take to give it out, because you're gonna break. And that's the thing, it's like the flesh. Hey, the flesh is weak, man. But that's why it comes down to the spirit. Because as far as for brothers, whatever we're gonna go through, it's gonna come down to the spirit. The spirit of the Lord is gonna have to, come upon brothers.
When the enemy cometh in as a flood, then shall I raise up a standard against them.
Yeah.
And that's what we're relying on, the spirit of the Heavenly Father.
That's where the faith comes in, because then you need to have faith. Like, hey, the Lord's gonna strengthen me through whatever you need to deal with. Because it's gonna be required, man. It's Jacob gonna be catching all forms of hell, man. And that's you can watch these post-apocalyptic movies and kind of gear your mind towards what's gonna go down. But hey, it's gonna be peak. That's why it's like even where it's people like, as far as for hardship, unless you've experienced it, then it's hard to kind of, for most people, to gear their mind to it. And because now just the general public, they're, like I said before, they're steering away from trying to acknowledge or deal with any form of hardship. So for them, it's like once it really starts kicking in, they're gonna fold, man. This situation shows it. This whole situation with the pandemic is shown. People are folded, man. People's all form of resistance and willpower is broken, man. They're done. Like they haven't got a backbone. They're gonna, like, by and large, the vast majority is just gonna bend to whatever desires are placed upon them, man. Because they just wanna no longer experience, this light level of pain. And that's the thing, is it's like, you can say if you've been in this faith for a while, it's like different hardships you've gone through. You might be thinking like, damn, these guys can't just deal with what? You just chilling at home, like for X amount of hours.
So
like,
we've been exercised you know, in the spirit, man.
Yeah, and it's like for them as well. What the only reason they've been able to maintain is what these guys are, you know, weed heads. They go to the club every weekend. They're all into all forms of different
Drug paraphernalia.
and indulgences in the world as a means of getting by. Once those are gone, then they're just like, oh shit,
Shit is real. Coronavirus. Shit is getting real.
fuck, you know.
So this is the book of Psalms 55, quick one. Psalms 55:22. Cast thy burden upon the Lord Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. But thou, O power, shalt bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. So if you trust in this system, these bloody and deceitful men, basically them days that you hope to attain and living more, you know, in the abundance of things, you ain't even gonna live out half your days, alright? It's better to trust in the Lord, alright? Even Job the 13th chapter, man, or 14 and 13, and even if the Most High slayeth me, I'll maintain my trust in him, loosely paraphrasing, alright? But I wanted to read this other precept going into the kingdom, because I've got it here, and then you can get what you got, or whatever. Hebrews 11 and 13. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them. Alright, this is going back to our forefathers, dealing with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Abraham left his father's house, and he basically followed after the Heavenly Father and did anything he did. He did great acts, alright? Up in age, doing many great acts, man. Being prepared to offer up his son, in having faith that the Most High will raise him up from the dead. Alright? So reading on, it says, for they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country, alright, being a kingdom, alright, and truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had the opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is an heavenly, wherefore the Most High is not ashamed to be called their power, for he have prepared for them a city. Alright, that's going into the same thing about going through the straight, the narrow path. They understood that, look, man, you know, in this lifetime, we could live in abundance, we could live it up, but guess what? What we're seeking to attain is something greater than before. So let's go after that, and let's attain that, as opposed to dealing with what they're dealing in the kingdom, because they had faith in what the Heavenly Father presented before them. And that's the same thing we're dealing with. We understand this ain't our rest. What does it tell you in the book of Micah? Rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. For it's polluted, and it shall destroy you with a sore destruction. We understand that the only thing that's here is death, man. The fashion of this world passeth away. This world is temporal. These things, you know, when you look at a building and you can say that, or a road, or some infrastructure, and you're like, yeah, man, they ain't gonna last too long. That's what's going on right now in Miami, right?
Yeah.
People are looking at the buildings and they're like, nah, I don't want to live here no more.
Just gonna collapse. There was even what town was it? I think it was Georgia. There was like, I fucking saw a picture. The whole town just got blown out. I think it was one hurricane, and it was a wrap. Let's see. Cause no, it was peak. Yeah, wildfire. It was a wildfire. It just done the whole town. And like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, on the fourth day, yeah. You can see.
You want me to hold it, or you?
No, it's there. Let's see, autofocus. Yeah, the top is. Yeah, that was all the houses are gone there. That's funny as hell. But I was like, yeah, that's right. That's how peak it is, and that's the thing. That's how temporal all that you have here is, man. Because even what was it, 2020? I think it was 2020 when it was January. It was just mad wildfires. non-stop for the whole month. Yeah, was it 2012? I think it was. I don't even know, man. All this time just blends together. Maybe it's 2021.
everything even like it's June. It's July now.
It's July now. Can't
Yeah. Can't even say it's June.
Yeah. But that's how shit, bruv. Shit just gets fucked, man. And that's, bruv. This like, it's. Imagine it says America's gonna be gone in 1 hour. People might feel like, well, 1 hour, but not. But then imagine this town is just one wildfire. The whole town's done. It's done. Funny as hell. And then, yeah, the condo buildings in Miami, it was hilarious. Man said they checked a similar one. People said they didn't want to move out. People getting forced to move out. They said the structural failures are, unmanageable. And the funny thing is like, it's been a joke, like fucking China, like when Live Leak used to be a thing. Like their buildings used to collapse, man. I remember those guys that were just going into the foundation of a building, poking with a stick, and the shit was just crumbling away. And then and you see there's a whole big building, then they collapse. That's Esau's system. This thing, it was not built. America especially. America especially. That shit is some of the most temporal fucking shit ever, man. That shit was made for a real short, quick use, man. It's a whore. That's why it's the whore, man, that sitteth upon the beast.
Dump,
It's you greasy nut in it one night, and then you kick out of the bed and you leave, man.
You don't even fall asleep, man. It's a clarity. It's a clarity nut, man. It's like, oh shit, what am I doing
Put
here,
your fucking
man?
jeans back on,
Yeah,
and
man.
get the fuck out. That's how it's been used. That's why it's like motorways where that shit has been in dire need of work. The roadwork. That's the thing, is the UK. They have some fucked up roads over here, but it's like at the very least, they like the maintenance is on a higher level than what's done in the US, man. The US is so big. A lot of this shit is just used so much. It's a wrap, bruv. Like, cause bruv, it's Esau. That's Esau's kingdom as well. They the term is what? Planned obsolescence, where they intentionally, it's like with iPhones and shit, where they intentionally make it.
I'm thinking of that saying,
They make it degrade
Yeah.
after like 2-3 years, like
yeah.
what? However long your so like 2-3 years your contract, then like they have the planned obsolescence, where it's made to degrade over time, and that's the nature of how Esau constructs his shit in the society. Because that's when you think back, there's stuff that was made hundreds of there's stuff that was made hundreds and thousands of years ago that's still about in a somewhat usable fashion. But then with maintenance, obviously. But then with Esau shit, it's like you be making houses where it's like you need to be doing work on that every 5, 10, 15, 20 years, which is just like that don't even make no sense. But that's why, because greed, man. Everything with Esau comes down to the bottom line. He's about cash money, man. What was okay? Yeah, there's one I was gonna read. Where is it?
Oh, let me read this. I found it.
Okay, yeah.
So this is the book of Deuteronomy 30 and 7. Alright, so obviously, Deuteronomy 28 talks about the curses that come upon the children of Israel. And then those curses come upon us. It prophesies of America being brought into effect. And how basically a people, of a fierce countenance that we know not, a tongue that we know not, will basically come and take us back into the land of Egypt, being known as America today. So this is in Deuteronomy the 30th chapter and the 7th verse, which reads, "And the Lord Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord Yahweh, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul. And this is gonna happen. Because why? The kingdom of heaven is basically the next thing that's gonna happen. Alright? And that's why Esau is set up for a great judgment. All these curses, and that guy into what the brother said, temporal kingdom, its whole existence was for what reason? One reason and one reason alone. To punish the children of Israel. Alright? And even greater than that, to accomplish the will of the Heavenly Father. For his words not to go out void. Alright?
Ecclesiastes 7:15. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. Now it's funny, I was reading that because I was just thinking, that's why it says, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. A lot of the ways, like Jake now, people really in the world patting themselves is after like the, celebrities, after the guys, who have money at the top. They'll be following after and maneuvering, trying to maneuver how they maneuver. But these guys are wicked as hell, man. And because they're being prolonged in it, because they're being rewarded in it, they think that's, that's essentially associated with righteousness, man. It's like there's a thing called like the halo effect, where it's like if a guy is if someone's good looking, or they have some like they're doing well, like they have money or like some kind of fame or status, people assume they're a good person, whatever the hell that means.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like people have been wired to think like, oh, they'll look up to I don't know, any random, like, I don't know, like it's Brad Pitt or some celebrity or something, and think, oh, because they've got success and money, that means they're a righteous person. That's why it's bugged out, man. Just because, and that's the thing with the elites at the top. These guys are being prolonged in their wickedness, but what? It's for a purpose. Because that's why it's like, even when you see Jake, Jake is basically catching hell. And really, you wouldn't looking at it, you're just saying like, yo, what do these guys do wrong, man? These guys must be off. That's why they try and flip, the curse of Ham, and say it's on Jake, or the curse of Cain. Because I had some Jake just mention it, and I was just like it was referring to Jake. And I was like Esau's done a number, man. Because that's the thing, is Esau's the odd one out, man. He's the big red thumb just sticking out in the middle from everyone else, man. The only guy with no melanin. But why? Because he's been able to set the narrative, push his vibration over the earth, where everywhere you go around, you see, you see billboards, you see movies, you see all different forms of how people are moving on the earth. They're all modeling and patterning themselves after Esau. But okay, it says, be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? Yeah, so it's even with how you're meant to move, especially because we're in the flesh as well. It's like where the creature was made subject to vanity, where it's going to be impossible for us to stay perfect. So we're gonna do wickedness, but then it's like, just with wickedness, you ain't meant to be indulging in it too much. But then righteousness as well.
You're reading Ecclesiastes 7, right?
Yeah.
About the balance, yeah.
Yeah, because if you overdo yourself, try and overdo yourself in righteousness, you can't even do it.
Man.
And that's why what Yahushua did was even more significant. Because that's why it's for someone to to think they're on that kind of level, they're bugged out, man. And that's really that's Jake, man. Jake really have that issue where they're always, you can go back in the scriptures, man. It's like what the fuck's that guy called? Korah, man. It's they have what? Theudas. They have I think it was a Judah as well. The examples given of those guys that try and raise up and just build. They're trying to off their own character or charisma or whatever the hell. They're trying to just like get some form of following, man. They're trying to basically force prophecy through themselves. But that's it's you're overdoing it, man. That's you got to play your role. Whatever's allotted to you, that's what it's gonna be. That's why you have what captains of hundreds, captains of 50s, 20s, 10s, fives. You have different levels and statuses, and that means you basically got to go into and achieve whatever your role is, man. And that's why Yahweh Shai has his role, King David has his role, the 12 have their, like, the elect have their, there's order, and there's things that are set. And then for you, that's why you can't just up jump and try and set up things how you want them set up, because then you've done what Esau's done. Because like the brother right earlier, going about to establish your own righteousness in Romans. That's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to just be like, well, okay, well, I'm actually the son of the Most High. Like, what are you bugged out,
Yeah,
man?
you got demons.
You're lost, man. Yeah, done on that. You can get yours still.
Okay, let me quickly read this then. Revelations 13 and 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's basically what's going on, because a lot of people are worshipping after the image of the beast, but they have no clarity or visibility of what they're doing. They're just walking after it, you know, docile. Just whatever's put before them, they just do it. Alright, because even I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and you know, people were basically bought into the Maxine and all that type of stuff, and they're saying, look, like, if they don't let us out after X, Y, and Z, then we know they're playing with us. It's like, nigga, you didn't know they're playing with you already? He even said, like, oh, they just put this random sign inside us, and we're just going with it kind of thing, because we want to, you know, get back to normal in life. And really, there should, you know, that shows you that people are just ready to do anything. But it really is, it's part of the image, because people, and you could see it where it's like in the UK, I'm going to use examples from the UK, when it came out and they said they were putting horse meat inside a certain
The
instead of
thingy,
beef, right?
instead of beef and like lasagnas and shit like that, the ready-made ones in Tesco.
Mhm.
And then your people are just like, oh well, I wish you would have told us beforehand. Like, people are docile as hell.
And some people even like, I don't mind a bit of horse meat. Like,
No.
they didn't care.
But then that's the thing is people have been lulled, man. They're snoozing, man.
Snoozing. Yeah.
And that's why it's like, because Esau can extend further and further how far he's gonna go, and the people are just gonna eat it. Because that's the thing. That's why it's like, there was, I can't even remember who it was, man. They were talking about the max. And they're saying like, oh well, you know, we just kind of have to, you know, we don't like. It's not 100% guarantee. You know, you can't really expect. But then you've just gotta, you know, you've just gotta get it for now. Like, it's that's the thing. It's the way Esau's built the minds of the people to operate, is where they're thinking more about, you know, reality TV, the significant. You know, they're thinking about Love Island or whatever. You know, that's what they're actually engaging their brain cells for. They're thinking about they're thinking about England's latest match in the Euro. That England, I'm like, bruv, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is watching the Euro. I was like, bruv, people really need that bliss, like, to be like, they need something, man, to be to be absorbed in, or they're not, you know, they're not going to be able to do it. That's why everyone's was wanting that match with with AJ and fucking what do you call it, to finally settle the score. And Tyson Fury, man, to finally settle the score. There's, you know, people, any match that any bum that they're getting in the ring to fight Mayweather, you know, like an exhibition match, that they're, you know, everyone's down and watching it, man. Them man are making, there's people who pay to see, you know, a complete a ranked amateur versus a seasoned pro. You know, and I don't know what else you expected. But that's hey, it's people people that's why they're not paying attention to whatever the government says. That's why the guy who set all in the UK, the guy who set all the like every single policy, what's his name, Matt Hancock, man. This guy got found diddling, you know,
Another woman's wife, another man's wife. Sorry.
next man's wife, and the thing that he apologized for was breaking
The COVID restrictions,
so
not
social
fiddling with another
distancing
man's-
social distancing rules.
Mhm.
Cause that's that you know that and that alone shows how backwards this place is. Cause I was like imagine that I was like that's hilarious. Like it's oh he was breaking. That's the thing everyone's getting upset. He was breaking the rules. He was close. He was telling us to do it, but he wasn't. I'm like bruh, like that's you guys are bugged out. You realize that's a sin in the scriptures. It's a sin unto death. So that's why that's shows you how backwards Esau's realm is, man. Like the guy's just there, and then when he's doing his apology, I was like, this guy's in some. His back garden's huge. I was like, this guy's living good, man. Just there, just like, yeah, I'm very, disappointed. I was, I let down the, bruv, I was like, this is lame. I was like, your whole kingdom's lame. Everyone's, and I was like, is anyone gonna do anything about this? No. People are when whatever Esau does. They've invited it upon themselves, man. The general populace, man. Because these guys, you tell them, you throw out a little bit of something and see how they respond. They're just like, nah, we just can't. Yeah, I can't. Like, how could you question and you really just got to go. I was like, you guys are docile, man. You guys are gonna jump on that mark. They're gonna ask for 5 chips. They're gonna even with the Neuralink, man. These guys are thinking like, oh yeah, Oscar, imagine you can have Google in your brain, you're gonna like be able to think that much. I was like, bro, you guys are idiots. Like, think about now with your phone. When you whenever you get specially tailored ads, there's a lot of people that talk about if you talk about certain things near your phone, then you go on Google, you'll get ads for things you talk about.
Yeah.
There's a few videos people have done where they don't mention something, and then they show the ads that they get. Then they talk about something for a little bit, then they refresh a page, and then they get ads about what they were talking about.
Mhm.
And I was like, and that's happened multiple times. I've been talking to someone, and they go search something, and it's like, okay, they get ads for something that we're talking about, and I was like, this is hilarious, because it really it shows like that, and that's with external things, with your phone, with your TV, with your laptop, with your whatever. They're already looking to control and thingy adjust how you think. There was the release as well, like Google, where they said like there was an expose done on them where someone was hidden camera recording, talking to one of the execs, talking about, oh yeah, we adjusted the algorithm for like the results people would get around the presidential elections, and we changed like so they would get more Hillary related stuff rather than Trump related, all that kind of stuff. And these things are exposed. And people are like, just like with like, oh, the voting thing, saying, oh, there was voter fraud, blah blah blah. A bunch of these extra votes were added. There was all these kinds of thingies. I was like, okay, and then people were just like, oh, well, yeah, but you got Trump out though, so does it really matter? I was like, you guys are monkeys, man. I was like, that's the thing. Is it's showing already that Esau is gonna do anything to manipulate and control and have you guys fall in line. And then it's like he's been showing it. He's been showing his horns. Esau's been revealing that he's the devil the Bible speaks of. But what's the response? They're gonna go with it, and that's the thing. So that's why they're gonna receive. It says what? Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not altogether go unpunished. So that's the thing. You guys are just being down with it, especially among Jake, man. Jake are docile as hell. Them guys were doing the most when this thing started. Jake was saying now it's they're all looking to get on, especially the Jake woman, man. She's first in line, man. The first line of defense for anything Esau does. But that's what in the scriptures.
I got a precept.
Go on.
It's the book of Sirach 33 and 18. I'm going to read down. Well, let me just read. So it says, hear me, O ye great men of the people, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee, while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest he repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. As long as thou livest and hast breath in thee, give not thyself over to any. Alright? For better it is that thy child should seek to thee than that thou shouldest stand to their courtesy. In all works keep to thyself the preeminence. Leave not a stain in thine honour. At the time when thou shalt end thy days and finish thy life, distribute thine inheritance. But the reason why I read that is because keep yourself preeminent and basically leave not a stain in thine honor. Because the main reason, what's the stain on your honor? Basically having taken a mark, or even subscribing to the image of the beast, but taking a mark.
Yeah, that's
Because-
the physical proof of.
And that's it, and that goes into what you're saying, because what I was meditating on is like, for you to take a Maxine, for you to eat horse meat, and not even really kind of, look into these as much as being your power, alright, and try to walk as straight a path as you can. Basically, you're allowing someone to have preeminence over you, alright. You're gonna lead yourself into what? A stain onto your honor, alright. Like the Maxine is a big point in that. That's giving someone total preeminence over you. The Heavenly Father, we've been bought with a cost, alright? And even your body is your temple. There's a certain amount of maintenance, but it's like I don't want to say the word pride, but a certain, like, your body is basically, your spirit even is been lent onto you, alright? Your body has been lent on. Everything you possess in this world is temporal, alright? We have a body up in, caution, you can say the word caution. We have another body for our spirit in the fourth dimension. So while we're in this body, we have to maintain it and deal with it in a certain level of caution, as to the fact that this has been given onto us as a temporal.
The responsibilities that come with it.
That's it. And mainly, a lot of the responsibilities are morality. That's why there's stipulations when you actually don't adhere to the said things that are in the law. Right, like if you eat pork, for example, it might not kill you straight away, but you're gonna attain a lot of chronic illnesses through the process of time, and you're gonna have a more difficult life, right? In the fact that you basically ain't keeping a dietary law, okay? You got something?
Just a quick one. Revelation 13:3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Just kind of quoted it before, I believe. So yeah,
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it can't.
Yeah, because like everyone's wondering after the beast, man. Everyone's marveling. Because that's even John marveled, man. So wherefore didst thou marvel? Because what? It appears, grand. The the whole. It seems, and that's the mindset. That's the thing, is until the spirit really came on you to kind of see it for what it is, you're caught in the same kind of marveling, wondering after Esau and his kingdom. Because otherwise you're just seeing, like, especially with the image of Jake as it is now, it's that's been destroyed. So you're just thinking, like, you're just out here like, yo, what even is there? And that's the mindset that a lot of Jake are still in, man. They're just basically stuck thinking like they're just a vessel wherein is no pleasure, as a residue among the heathen, man. Which I believe is in Jeremiah.
No, Daniel.
Is it Daniel, that one? Okay.
Where with the stamp on the residue of the people.
No, just a residue. No, you should be a residue among the heathen. Oh no, vessel wherein is no pleasure.
That's talking about that's
I think it
no,
is.
go on.
Okay, let me read this. Hosea 3:4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Yeah. So, Jake, that's the state of a lot of Jake, man. They still have no image, no king, no prince.
And
They ain't got anything, man. Because when you go to Romans 9, and it's what? everything, the adoption, the laws, the service of the Most High, those things applying to Israel, and really onto the elect. So then it's like for outside of that, the Israel that's not of the Most High, them guys, they don't have any of it. They're just really out here, and this is what you are of your father the devil. They're really molding the image of Esau, man, because that's all they're gonna be riding out for, man. You took like certain Jakes, when them Jakes are in the world, you talk to them. These guys, their existence and the barriers of it end within the bounds of Esau's realm, man. They can only fit themselves within that. The most is like they might have, okay, they go back to the islands or they go back to the west coast, but then even then, it's like they're still, especially if they're living within Babylon or within Esau's kingdom, they're still stuck in a mindset that comes with that, man. They ain't really like, they're not looking at themselves as Israelites, man. So it's a wrap. You have something? I was gonna get.
Go get what you gonna get.
Get thingy, what do you call it? The one. Well, did you find it, Jeremiah?
Yeah, it's Jeremiah, but it's Hosea 8 and 8 as well. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
now they're dispersed amongst the Gentiles as in a vessel of no pleasure.
Okay.
Just put vessel pleasure.
Yeah, in Hosea. Okay. And let's see. I'm not combining the two.
What point was you looking for?
Okay, yeah. That's combining two. Thingy, no, I might just read Hosea then. Hosea 8 and 8. Jesus. 8 and 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Yeah, and that's the state Jake is in, man. Swallowed up. Consumed, man. They're really. And that's the thing is all Esau's really doing, because it's a good example is with what's this guy Sterling, man. Because talking to a Jay, he was telling me about like, I think what, 18 out of it was something like there was only like one newspaper cover that had Sterling on it, and the rest of them had Harry Kane on the front. Because why? Because Jake, because you're still, no matter what you do, you can score the goals for England, but you're still a nigga, man. That's how funny this shit is, man. It's like man are really out here, like trying to seek love, and that's really what Jake is. All they're really like laboring to do is try and bring glory to Esau's kingdom, man, and to gain some recognition, man. That's but then it don't even work. A lot of these guys, that's why it's guys that have achieved success. It's like, man, you especially football is funny as hell, because going back to the 90s, the levels of racism that was going down
Beyond that,
man.
beyond.
Beyond. Then that's what I'm saying is as recent as.
Recent as.
Yeah, because it's like even beyond then as well. So I remember dashing bananas on the field and
Even the other day.
Yeah. It's like that's why it's funny as hell. Like y'all have really been trying the utmost. So I think well, there was a point where I brought up the 90s, but yeah, it's still to this day. That's like Jake are not just seen as British. You're seen as niggers.
I got scripture.
That's funny as hell.
Jeremiah 2 and 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Wherefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways?
So the point being is that basically Jake is doing what? They're trimming themselves to seek love.
They're doing anything they can. That's why it's funny. It's gone now. But there's a picture of Raheem Sterling with fucking
A James Brown kind of conk hairstyle in 2013, man. Nigga got relaxed hair like a quiff on quiffs.
Yes.
And I know no niggas. He wasn't around no niggas to be doing that type of shit.
Cause he's trying to seek love around Esau, man. Blend off up in faces. Well, faces ain't there no more, but them type of brotherly and you know, if you're from London, you know what I'm talking about. Them ballers clubs, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me read this. John 8:44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. For he was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Yeah, and that's who you're, patterning yourself after. That's why it's especially as a Jake that gains success. It's like even if you like something that, like when it comes to the law, like tattoos. Like I don't know what it is, especially because Jake, when you're dark skinned, like the tattoos ain't even like as visible as when you're just like Edomite when you're translucent out here. But then Jake always get into hella tattoos. They always indulge in. Even you had what's her name, man? One of the 100-meter runners, the females in America, one of the Jake ones. I can't remember her name, but she got disqualified because she had cannabis in her system, man. And I was like, bruh, like I don't even know why, like, but